Ethereal synchronicity 444. Yes, yes, you're shooting live and direct from my place, my base, my space. To wherever you're at in the world, doing your thing, whatever it is. No, to the queens and kings. Yeah, there we do. So, what we talking about there? Well, nicely, I dropped it to kings and queens, or queens and kings, because we're talking about all things royal. Nah, I'm playing, but you got the North Star there on the second house cusp. You got Betelgeuse there on the first house. Just little things to note in Galactic Center over there on the descendant. But yeah, the real business in hand is Mars on the North Node, and that's making a trine to Neptune in the 10th house. So I'm thinking this is going to be a memorable joint from me. And it should be, because we're talking about the world famous, you know it, you guessed it. Well, you didn't guess it, but you might guess it because of how I've titled it. Let's get it there. Rolls-Royce. That's right. Rolls-Royce. The double R. Very fond in my own heart, as it originates from my hometown here of Manchester, where I'm born and raised. Try to get my old actual caption on the screen. Just realised what's happened with it before and fit that in. So yeah, these double R's here, Rolls-Royce, as you see here, world famous logo, world renowned for engines of motor cars and aviation for aircrafts. So yeah, let me break this down like a pro, master at work and all that. Yo, so anyway, people, yeah, Leo's gone on the third house cusp over here in Manchester to the astrologers. That should give me a bit more verve to handle the business, and the Rolls-Royce video deserves it, obviously, because it's top quality product and merchandise we're talking about here. So I'm going to give you a top quality offering. That is the intention. If you set the intention correctly, you will receive the right ends, or something like that. So, Henry Royce, OBE, born on the 27th of March 1863, and the Honourable Charles Stuart Rolls was born on the 27th of August 1877. Now, their official meeting was actually in 1904 on the 4th of May. 4th of May, May the 4th. May the force be with you. And the force was obviously clearly with them. Yeah, classic bars. Yeah, they met at the Midland Hotel, which is in the Manchester city centre. I've actually had the privilege of doing a shift or two there. So I didn't actually know that at the time when I was doing it, but there you go, the things you find out. Oh, a quote from Henry Royce. Whatever is rightly done, however humble, is noble. So yeah, I'll say that once more. Whatever is rightly done, however humble, is noble. Henry Royce, OBE. So yeah, let me get it right now. So people like stories, or we as human beings like stories. So I thought I'd do the courtesy of basically. Can I hear myself? Hear myself? I should be able to. Levels should be good on this. Yeah, stories and connecting to information, and us basically being able to tie it in our right brain and left brain. You've got the logical bits, and then you've got the more artistic parts, and that's how people basically tend to enjoy and remember information. In fact, anyway, yeah, so I'm gonna give you the breakdown so that it makes sense. Plus, right, just because I'm sitting, in the base and the place and the home of Rolls-Royce, this could be going all around the world. So let me tell you the story, scenes you may or may not know. Henry Royce, his father passed away in 1872. He was born in 1863, so he was only about 9 when that's happened. And it's basically caused Henry Royce to go out to work delivering papers and telegrams. By 1878, he starts an apprenticeship with the Great Northern Rail, helped by his auntie. And I believe that lasted for about 3 years before the money ran out. But in that time, he was able to obviously gain some quite decent experience for what he's gone on to do. So after that, he joins the maybe before 1882, but in 1882, he's with the Electric Light and Power Company, and with that particular job, he moves to Liverpool. So that brings him further up north from his original settings of Peterborough. So yeah, I might not have said it before. Henry Royce was born in Alwalton, somewhere near Peterborough. So yeah, I believe he's basically moved north up the country to take these positions. So yeah, let's just double check. Yeah, and then in 1884, Henry takes £20 and joins forces with Ernest Claremont, who contributes £50 to the joint venture. Sounds like a little bit of money, but I'm backing in 1884. 20 and 50 quid was, big dollars. Couldn't tell you how much, like, I'd have to look it up, but yeah, probably more than a week's wages, you know what I mean? So initially, Royce starts out with domestic electrical fittings and then advances to making dynamos and electric cranes. It says the cranes became renowned for their engineering. This is what I think helped build him a reputation. So, strangely enough, actually, I'm going to try and do that on my Insta, or maybe, like, I don't know if I can do it on YouTube, because just basically I can't get the image, but we'll see anyway. We'll see if someone technical wants to help me with that, getting the images and the messages part up. Some reason it doesn't allow me to do that when people do the where they type the information. Basically, yeah, where you post a note rather than leave a video. For some reason, I remember when the option was available, and then all of a sudden it doesn't seem to be available for me to select. But otherwise, I'd post more notes and be in contact with you more frequently. So anyway, getting back to the story, is basically what's happened, right? Let me tell this story with a bit of energy, or at least a bit of how it went down in my mind, because that's how the colourful story works. You got Henry Royce. He's basically like the 5th of 5 children, yeah? Just so we get a picture now. So he's the youngest of 5. His dad passes away when he's about 9. He has to go and work early. Then he goes and gets an education. And then throughout this, education, apprenticeship, Great Northern Rail, Electric Light Power Company, different bits and pieces, from domestic electrical fittings to making dynamos and electric cranes. Joins up with Ernest Claremont, and I think he's probably the reason why we got a Claremont Road in Manchester. Well, somebody is, and I've been trying to work it out all these years. And when I was doing the research for this, I thought probably him. Strangely enough, right, I've done the research for this more than once, but I can't remember where the original notes are, so ain't that the truth. And then, so the real story is Claremont, Ernest Claremont, and Henry Edmonds are friends, and what's happened is Henry Royce has basically built his cars. In fact, how it tells it on Wikipedia is that he has a job where he's building something like cars for another manufacturer or something, and in the process he starts on his own little project in the corner of the workshop. Now, Henry's particular project was about building like the most quality like vehicle, the best thing he basically could produce that like was possible and capable of at the time. So I mean, with that being the case, I believe he's built something. In fact, I think the things that he was building for the people that he's actually working for, he either wasn't happy with, or the thing he was building for himself wasn't happy with, and he started again. But long story short is he's very vigorous and painstakingly, attention to detail when it comes to doing the job to getting his car to the highest premium quality. So yeah, man, Henry Royce, no joke when it comes to this. So basically, yeah, what I've put here is that Edmonds is a friend of Charles Rolls. Put he's an engineering enthusiast, but when I actually started studying, he's a bit more than that. And basically, it's Henry Edmonds, that arranges the meeting between Charles Rolls and Henry Royce, and that was the beginning of a beautiful partnership. So that one puts that fairly shortly. So we tell Rolls' story anyway. The Honourable Charles Stuart Rolls had the nickname of Dirty Rolls. Yeah, I think Rolls was the out of the two, then the rich kid, if I could say that. And I say even the kid or the child for the right word. And just in the sense that he's 14, 15 years younger than Royce. But yeah, nonetheless, he's come from well-to-do background, we should say. His dad was I'm sure I'll put it here, the first Baron of Langattock, and his mother was basically had the title of Lady Langattock. Now, I'm not sure if I said Langattock right, because Rolls basically has Welsh heritage. So basically, he's got family from Wales, and he was very strongly, held a strong affinity with his Welsh family, so he was tight with them, basically. Rolls. So, yeah, he joined Automobile Club of France. He buys Purge. Now, this is actually interesting because it leads me to a story down the line. But he buys a Peugeot Phaeton, or Phaeton, you could call it. But basically, Phaeton was part of a Greek myth, basically. And that's why it caught my eye when I seen that as the first car he bought. And on top of it being the first car that he bought, which he actually bought from France, and he's part of this automobile club, it was the first car supposedly owned in Wales. So Rolls is a man who actually broke a lot of records, so to speak. I'll come to them now. So what Rolls added to the Rolls-Royce side of things was financial backing and business acumen. So like I said, he was well to do. I believe there's a point where his dad chipped in with something. In fact, that's it. Rolls, he opens a showroom before he even gets down with Royce, and he's selling cars, essentially. Rolls is deep in this, so, when they met, there was proper on it. So, on it like a car bonnet. Woo! Sorry, but yeah, just had to let it go. So, water, please. Just double checking here now. Well, yeah, I've basically gone shorter on the notes. The reason why I've probably gone shorter on the notes for Rolls is just the basis that he actually passed away when he was 32. Another first again. This man never stopped breaking records, even in his death and by his death. He basically ends up being, I'm telling the story too early, but I might as well get to it because they're both long gone. Yeah, he passes away 32 before he's 33. Yeah, the month before he's 33. Month or so. And yeah, he's the first man to die in British Isles, in England, in the UK, in an aviation accident. So basically in a plane crash. Probably it's a single plane or a double-seated plane. Probably not a big thing, I'd imagine, at that time. We're talking about 1910. You're talking about the 12th of July, 1910. So yeah. So before that actually happened though, and this is the thing, when I first researched it, I probably didn't check this out. So this happens or helps when you go back over things. And Pardon me, sorry. I'm human. So, yeah, he flies, yeah, so without even flying planes, yeah, this man's deep, like, he's the Branson of his time. He does over 170 balloon flights, wins a gold medal for longest flight time in 1903. He makes over 200 successful plane flights, so he's not no, like, rookie in the plane and that. He's the second person to receive the Royal Aero Club pilot license. So I don't know who got the first one, but maybe the guy that like created them. So we might as well have been the first man to get the license too. First man to make a non-stop double crossing of the English Channel in a plane, I believe. So yeah, man, Charles Rolls was doing it big. And just to top it off, Rolls was a keen cyclist. Cambridge bicycle racing at uni. So basically, yeah, he got down, he got busy, did Charles Rolls. Hence the name Dirty Rolls, I guess. So he wasn't the engineer, I believe, that Henry Royce actually was. But like, he was no slouch. And he knew how to sell it. And he knew how to, you know, market it. And yeah, he had the readies to back it. Always helps. Felt like taking one of them. Deep breath soprano. If you know who says that, put it in the comments. There you go. Just random little things to see if you're awake. And so that's Rolls, that's Royce. So yeah, it says here at some point, just to put it in, because I did write it down, and I must have wrote it down for a reason, that he did a stint on the London and Northwest Railway up in Crewe, whereas believe that's it, yeah, Henry Royce does a stint on the Great Northern Rail. So imagine when these men met, they had like a few things to talk about. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just how the game goes sometimes, or well, in astrology anyway. Never seems to be too much of an accident. Anyway, just to go into the myth of Phaethon, or seeing as I come across it the other day by you know, opportunity and chance. Yeah, he flies. Well, the story goes basically, is he the son of Apollo or something like that? It's not that he's the son of Apollo in particular, because I think it's somebody else, but he's the son of a sun god, could be Helios. I can't remember the exact father. But the point is that the sun god is his pops, yeah? And the long and short of it is Phaethon's basically earned his right to a gift, and he's never really like actually claimed his gift. And the day that he does decide to claim his gift, he has to fly this sun chariot that is basically his father's job. And yeah, let's just say that situation ended disastrously, and it's kind of like a signature of what happened with Mr. Charles Rolls. But when I get into the astrology of his chart, I will speak more into why he was so successful. Essentially, you'll be able to see it with his planets. But it made me look up the asteroids, or the ones that I could think of off the top of my head that would connect to like flying and, you know, falling out of the sky. So Phaethon being one. Icarus is the obvious story that most people know. Got his wings burnt. And then I actually found another one. Bellerophon or Bellerophon. And that's actually the one that I believe got him. And it's mad, you know, because when I actually checked out that he did all of these successful things, Bellerophon is basically like the Perseus story. And the Perseus story is connected to Medusa and the trials that he had to do to, yeah. Is he involved in the Golden Fleece? But yeah, he might be involved in, but yeah. Some of these myths seem to have repeats or echoes of each other. Maybe because they're told from different parts or different times and added into the timeline. But essentially, when I seen the name of that card, I thought it can't be for no accident reason. And like I say, I believe that Bellerophon is actually conjuncted Jupiter. I'll show that in the charts in a bit and get to it. So yeah, basically he was a keen aviator, engineer. Man even rode bikes. I ride bikes too, so I'm down with you, Charlie. Yeah, so that covers the notes on them. Like I say, you got to tell a story with these guys. If you don't tell a story, I'm just showing you some planets. Obviously, everyone knows about the car or cars, but I believe they had contracts. Well, maybe even after they passed. Rolls-Royce basically has obviously outlived them and made a lot of contracted aircrafts for government, believe, and stuff like that. Air Force, essentially. There you go. That have a lot to do with Charles Rolls, I imagine. In fact, from what I remember reading, there's a point where he was trying to convince Royce to get involved, maybe not in flying crafts, but maybe more into building them and designing the engines, because obviously he knew Royce was the brains in the engine department. So, I'm sure you must have seen enough of that bit. Check this bit. Ideally, yeah, I'm going to try and get that up as the thumbnail, which this is on my gram. Insta. What it is right now. That's me. In fact, yeah, this is Pengless actually. Because you're getting to see the reality. This is in Hume Park, local in my area. And basically, it would have been basically where Cook Street would have been, I imagine. This is where the Henry Royce's factory was. So what you got in my area is you got a Royce Road and a Rolls Crescent. And yeah, these are just to give remembrance to the significance of the achievements of these two men, R&R. So yeah, that's just me kicking it with, And there's actually like a plaque around the back of the park talking about the achievement and whatnot. There's loads of little bit of tidbits of Manchester, information and history, things in time that you could look up astrologically. It's quite significant. So yeah, we'll see what goes up. So let's flick to astrology. Quick look at the real time chart, and then we'll go to these charts here. So what's the story with the geezers? Which way round should I read it? I'm gonna read it. I feel like reading it Royce way round for whatever reason. So that's what we're going for. I think I can have a bit more space. Supposedly people like faces, so have a bit of that. Don't know, I've had me time. Feel like you're interacting with the world, with the crowd, with your audience, with your people. See, that's the Leo in the third house performing. But yeah, I feel like the Royce and the Rolls, man, them deserve it. So let me do what they do. So as I said, no birth times. So what you'll see here is the Aries rising on the cusp, Libra on the descendant, Capricorn on the midheaven, Cancer on the IC. This is basically a standard pattern in astrology where Aries starts the cycle, followed on by Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius and Pisces. I could do that backwards, forwards in my sleep and learned that like ages ago. For some reason it's like I feel like it should be obvious to everybody else, just because everyone generally knows what their own sign is, and I guess I relate to other people by default of living on planet Earth. But yeah, most people don't take note of birthdays, and then that's when you realise that, like, yeah, okay, it's not such a known thing. But I'm hard pressed to find somebody that doesn't really know their sun sign. Go figure. So yeah, what did I write about Royce? Acting like I had to read it, but I don't. I just need to sit close enough to my mic so I'm not wasting my breath. So he's got Sun in Aries. Get on the gauge. Boom. It's actually conjunct Neptune. Believe that makes him some kind of visionary, I guess, at the very least. Then also what have I got here? Sextile to, so check this out. I feel like this is a bit significant. Well, more than a bit significant. But I mean, even related to the time that I'm shooting this video right now. So let me break it down. It's got Mars, the planet of engines, motors, engineering, driving, going forward, fast, leading, Aries, also Scorpio, traditionally speaking. He's got that in Gemini. That's a sign of transportation. I mean, even just on these small key signatures alone, yeah, like you can see some of the things. So it connects to like his brain and his mind as well, you would think. Don't know what the houses are, but if you just read it on this basic simple level, it still speaks volumes. So he's got Mars conjunct to Uranus. Uranus deals with the technology aspect, advancement, futuristic, elite, very elitist. I didn't put that word down in here, but I have to say that's got to be the word that figures, yeah. He's made an elitist motor vehicle, and this south node and north nodal axis, which basically mirror each other in Sagittarius and Gemini on the 9th degree, are actually on the royal fixed stars of the east and the west. And I'd say Antares in Sagittarius, I think he's Watcher of the West, and Aldebaran in Gemini, Watcher of the East. Is it Michael and Ethereal? Getting deep into the meaning of these ancient positions and stars. But yeah, man, this man was destined to do big things. I mean, it's got Uranus with Mars, yeah, in Gemini, sign of transportation or moving or short distance journeys. There you go. That's the word that's technically generally used for describing the third house and Gemini kind of fleeting about. It relates to, in my mind anyway, Hermes, the messenger of the gods, which is basic mythology, and he was the one that like travelled. He's also known as the trickster. That's to do with deeper part of myth, but yeah, essentially he got about, went here, went there, spread the message. He's the messenger. That's why he's the messenger of the gods. He's always moving. Quicksilver, Mercury, Gemini, all of the properties there. So anyway, yeah, he made expensive fast cars. So, and I believe with the south node here, it's coming with the gift. Do you know what I mean? When I say come in, he's either learning it early, which she has, as it shows from the research that I've done, or he's coming from a past life, depending on how you consider basically your philosophy on life, death, and astrology, and yeah, karma and stuff like that. But yeah, I'd say it's definitely got that one in the bag because that's what he's come with. And his north node is actually ruled by Jupiter. And I noticed the thing that would be like prominent with that, with Libra, are two things. One is on the fixed stars of Speaker and Arcturus, yeah. And they are basically like some of the most successful, or the most successful royal stars or fixed Bohemian stars in the zodiac. Often, I mean, it's when you have a number of them together that it starts to really mount up. So he's got this Jupiter, which is the ruler, or the dispositor, I should say, of the north node. And apart from the fixed star that it's on, which is quite a successful, well-known place by people who use those, Libra's the sign of partnership. So I thought, yeah, he's going to have great success in partnership. And that's what he's done. I mean, his name is on the end of Roll's name. So it's clearly a partnership. 7th house. Well, it's not 7th house, but because we don't know the houses. Or it probably could be, who knows. Saturn is actually 1 degree and 50. So they say 2 degrees either side of the cardinal axis of Aries, Capricorn, Libra and Cancer are like, well, the Aries and Libra point in particular. Aries point is a very fiery point, and this part here over here is known as the supergalactic center. And Henry Royce has Saturn literally just edging in around that point. So maybe that's why he become a supremely prominent name. I didn't actually write that one down. I've just like, well, at least didn't write the words down, but I thought it in my head at some point in some way. Been able to translate it there off the top. Translate it there off the top, I should say. Feel like I slurred the word. So let's look down there. What have I put? Yeah, you can't forget. You have to like look here. So Venus, people who know Venus, love and money in simple terms. Love being the Libra partnership side, money being the Taurus physical needs and security side, if you break it down into astrological basics. But yeah, deals with the senses, refinement, taste, what you would like. Henry Royce has it in Taurus. So, and he actually has it in conjunct his Saturn in Libra, which is quite interesting. But just having the Venus alone in Taurus is in one of its home signs, and Taurus being the sign of worth and value, it's all about the quality, essentially, in the sense that it knows the best. And I mean, Capricorn and Virgo, I always feel like play a part in the Earth cycle of discernment and management. So Virgo's discernment, Capricorn's management, but evaluation and worth of what is actually the finest that can be bought or can be achieved or that exists. Taurus is all about that life. So having Venus in Taurus there, like he was loving it, it's actually coming up in conjunction to Pluto. And I never really even wrote this down. But I'm saying if it's coming in like this quickly, I say this quickly, Pluto moves very slow and Venus moves a lot quicker than that by like a gazillion years faster, just because of the distance. Let me give you a kind of example. Pluto's all the way out here, if this was the sun in the middle, and Venus is like in here, going around like, you know, every 10 months or so. Pluto, like 250 years. So yeah, that's why you can just, as an astrologer, see planets and know what's moving past what, if you understand the relationship between them all. So when I say this is coming in fast, like I say, it will pass it and it'll still be in Taurus, and then probably 3 years later it'll still be, in fact, Pluto spends about 30 years in Taurus, it ain't going nowhere. That's astrologer's information for you, because for some reason, due to its ecliptic nature, it only spends about, well, the last time it was there, 11 years, 12 years touching in Scorpio, about 10 good full years, but you know, like if you count retrogrades in and out, you're talking about 11, 12 years compared to the 20 odd, nearly 30 maybe years that it spends over here in Taurus. I've never been alive to see it. It's just something that I've happened to come across and find in my study of astrology. So, you know, if you've been alive longer enough to find out, tell me. So this man's got a lot of fine aspects. Here we go. I've put his Mercury in Pisces here is square to Uranus and Mars, which is conjunct the South Node. So basically it creates that like mini stellium. So the nature of this is his ideas, his thoughts. He's basically got genius thought weaves, because these have been considered, people call it a bit of a cliche now, but I'll just tell you, just so you know, you can learn for yourself. This is considered as the, I don't want to say the lower mind and the higher mind, because that's Jupiter and Mercury. But no, that's it. The higher octave, the lower octave of intellect and communication, and Uranus is considered a higher octave of that. So anyway, with that, it's considered as an aspect for intellect or quick thinking, at least, or sporadic, like rebels as well, essentially, people who don't conform. I mean, one of my good friends, I've got this. I was moaning about the aspect, saying the guy downstairs has got this aspect. Man's like, I've got that. And it's another astrologer, so it's like, wow, of all the people to be complaining to as well, and that. And Mum was giving me a bunch of workarounds in a situation of like how I could deal with a situation. So, I mean, there you go. You added something to my game, B. Thank you, if you ever watched this video or whatever. But no, like, the fact that he was trying to give me so many workarounds for the situation I was having difficulty with. I can imagine if Henry Royce, happened, it's the nature of Rolls-Royce, but Henry Royce found challenges, I'm pretty sure he would have found ways to work around it. And then with Mars there as well. Yeah, man, maybe I gotta have a talk, because I'm sure my brethren's got this as well. Wow, some kind of Mars Uranus thing going on. In fact, yeah, I'm aware of what it is in the back. This is off the top of my head, just astrology geek mode. Fully back in Pluto's up in there, man. All my 60s people had that. So, yeah, basically, genius with the motors. In short. Sun, trine North Node. So his Sun here in Aries at 6 degrees, and his North Node at 9 degrees speaks to his karmic destiny with his most advancement, which seems to be the partnership. And the Sun, his identity, is in a trine aspect, 120 degrees. So fire sign to another fire sign, showing that his identity, and even conjunct his Sun with the Neptune there, his identity in his dream, he was able to achieve. And he's coming with the gifts to do it here. So I mean, like, all of that alone spoke a lot of volumes to me. So that's Henry Royce. Time flies when you're having fun, folk. Like, I've got to keep it down to this time, but yo, just work with me, innit? You want to learn and love, you love and learn. What did my man say? I dropped the quote, dropped the bars. Whatever is rightly done, however humble, it's my mum coming out in me. You know what? Oh yeah, by the way, shout out to my pops, yeah? He's the guy that put me on game with cars, full stop. Like, he had a passion for cars in his day, engines and stuff like that. So, like, yeah, I wouldn't probably be making this video if it weren't for you. I've got to give you the juice for this one, fam. So, much love. And the fact that you and mum have given me my name, which is double barrel with an R and an R. So Rolls-Royce has always had much significance to myself. Speaking of which, I was listening to Rolls-Royce, the music, the band, who took their name from this particular outfit here. And Royce the 5'9", who also took his name from this particular outfit here. So, I mean, when people are talking about the highest and finest caliber, Rolls-Royce is generally referred to and connected. And if you actually check out Roy's... I hear the words I'm saying, yeah, and I'm mispronouncing them. But obviously it's fatigue, one must power through. Rolls-Royce and Royce the 5'9". So Royce the 5'9" is basically like a high top echelon caliber MC. He is a partner of Eminem, good friends with, yeah, Mr. Slim Shady. Oh, and he actually has his son on the North Star of Sirius as well, give or take. But yeah, and he was in the group Slaughterhouse. one part of 4. And then Rolls-Royce is Gwen Dickey, and they're called, I can't remember the name of the band, what they were called before they got with her, and I think there might have been 2 bands that joined into one. But basically it was like a OG band, and I really wish I remember the name off the top. The long story short is, marketing purposes, they added Gwen to the set and changed the name, and then you had Rolls, R-O-S-E, Royce, and actually like high quality music, like people still remember Wishing on a Star, which, you know, we're looking at the stars here, so all things significant. And then yeah, car wash. Working at the car wash, working at the car wash, babe. So, what else did I see? Okay, yeah, I seen something else. And I guess Henry Royce wouldn't miss a spot, so I can't like do him cheap, because he ain't doing nobody cheap with them whips. So it's Jupiter, and it doesn't show it here because it's out of sign, maybe, or because of the aspect, the orb ratio. But it's Jupiter out of sign, its opposite is Venus, and this would suggest a want for luxury. I mean, Venus is your wants, and Jupiter is an expansion of those wants. And that's why he wanted it to be the finest vehicle, smoothest, and basically just the most ostentatious piece of machinery out there. Oh, and then the thing I thought in seeing the opposition, out of sign opposition that it is, and I mean, I'll show you, it should be, fingers crossed. There we go. Let me move me over there. So that's Rolls. Looked at these charts enough to know. Rolls. Royce. My man. No adverts for you. We ain't doing it like that. There you go. So you can see in this particular chart, the orb allowance is wider. This red line following across shows you that they're opposite one another, even though you can see it's 145. Even though that they're not in the directly opposite signs exactly. But both signs are ruled by Venus. So the Jupiter is disposited by Venus, which basically means whatever planets are in Libra have to answer to what the ruler of Libra is doing. And the ruler of Libra is actually it's a sign that it also rules, which is Taurus. So it's happy there, it's doing big business. So it's giving these guys probably a nice boost. So that's why I'm saying he's coming with the top quality goods. So yeah, I'd say that's what I wrote for Royce on his own. So then let's go to Rolio. Roll, daddy, roll. And the amount of footage that I plan to do for this at one point with this camera and whatnot and blah 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 blah. Not this obviously on top of the computer, but like other handheld bits. The weather that we've had recently in Manchester, woo, not happening. So Mr. Charles Rolls coming up to fall. Charles Rolls is at Virgo, and he's actually got 4 degrees. So there you go, the 444. 4 degrees Venus, 4 degrees Sun, and 4 degrees Chiron. So that's 444 there. You go, Charlie boy. Yeah, and they're not having the significant points. They just relate to what I've seen. The most significant points are seen in this man's chart. Apart from the Sun, Uranus, and South Node, which means his identity and his uniqueness, or is basically part of the elite maybe, or his father was up there, which in his case it actually did turn out to be father from elite background where his stemmed from. Then I mean his North Node ruler is actually in Jupiter in Sagittarius where it rules, so it's quite happy there. So yeah, what you got in this man's chart is Pluto, Uranus, and Jupiter. Now I can't ignore this because to me it seems quite significant. This would speak to his aviation book of why this man flew so much. Oh, plus he's got his Mercury on the galactic center as well, as I was speaking about super galactic center. Let's get it right. So Uranus in trine to Jupiter basically means the gift of technology, future thinking, radicalness. Basically many of the things that all the keywords associated with Uranus could be enhanced by his belief, his wisdom. You could even put faith with Jupiter as well, because it's got Pisces connections. He had a lot of faith in his aviation and capabilities, and in my eyes he probably broke quite a few rules to do what he did, or at least records or boundaries. Yep, definitely. So because Pluto's dealing with it's basically getting into the depth, like the very, very deepest depth. So sometimes that would be taking something as far as you could, or going as like far as humanly possible, and then beyond if possible. So yeah, 200 successful flights. This is back in the 1900s, and 170 balloon flights as well, obviously successful in that. This is what speaks to him, I believe. I mean, Pluto, Uranus, and Jupiter doing radical things, extreme things. Jupiter a hell of a lot all the time, so there's a lot of that going on for him. And then I see that he's got the Sun trine Neptune as well, so a bit of a visionary himself. I mean, Neptune speaks to the faith and the dream and the ideal, so to speak. And he loved being in the air, because he was always in the air, wasn't he? Oh, and then something else just to say as well. Charles Rose had Mars opposite asteroid Bacchus, yeah, and the myth with Bacchus is basically he was the asteroid of greed and basically overdoing what he more and more, yeah, just overkill. And this is probably like, you know, why he's ended up going down in a ball of flames in the end. What they said happened is basically like the tail of his plane snapped in some kind of way or fashion, or the engine broke or something off it, and obviously that's caused his downfall. Right, talked about his Sun South Node, Sun Uranus, trine to Neptune, Chiron. Yep, we've said that. Oh, yep, Jupiter in Sagittarius, squaring Saturn and Mars. It's not showing up on this particular chart, but I imagine it would if I went onto here. And I guess I do this to illustrate it for those who can't always follow what I'm saying but want to see it. it'll be on this chart. Yeah, there you go. So you can see it on this chart here. This Jupiter is making a square too. So this talks about his engineering prowess as well and his reputation. Both Mars and Saturn are retrograde though. And I believe this may figure in how much work he's put into doing his dreams and his ideals, with it being in Pisces and then Jupiter being in Sagittarius. It's like a whole lot, like much. But what I was saying about these asteroids, just to get to it right now, is, like I say, I was triggered to put them in by seeing he owned that Peugeot Phaeton. So his Bacchus is at 15 and 44 of all numbers, and his Mars is at 15 and 58, conjunct his Saturn at 1756. So I feel like that might speak to him like going overboard, so to speak. And then he's got Bellerophon on his Jupiter as well, and Bellerophon's story is about conquering mission after mission after mission after mission after mission after mission and still becoming a cropper. So who knows, it happens to the best of us. Because I only know about it because I've seen that somewhere. Wow, yeah, and this dude Faith on here. And for the will in the world, I couldn't move the stars if I wanted to. So, you know, we have to just see what comes and try and live with the guidance and the wisdom of everything that we learn here. Right, so you put these guys together, you get really deeply scientific with this, and this is, I guess, if anyone's an OG, want to know astrology type guy, or i.e. follow me. Let's just say, right, Henry Royce didn't build no roller for you in 20 minutes and that. So it's what it is, peeps. Right, what we're gonna dip to. That's Roycey boy. Right. That's not the one because you won't see me there. Let's dip me here, actually. There you go. So that's the chart side by side, because they're not quite side by side, so to speak. I'm not sure how large you'll be able to see it. So what I'm going to do is show you two of the ways. In fact, no, I'll show you the synastry first. I'm gonna stick me. Stick me back where I belong. In a car now. So this is the Mars and Saturn. So Rolls, let's get this clear, is on the inside circle. Royce is on the outside circle. So this Mars and Saturn conjunct, in fact, I wrote it down. Mars Saturn conjunct Mercury. So Rolls is Mars and Saturn conjunct Royce is Mercury. I've put equals serious motoring ideas. Saturn being serious, Mars being motoring, Mercury being ideas. Then I've put Saturn and Mercury conjunction, conjunct Saturn. So Rolls is Mercury and Saturn here in Libra, 1 degrees and 4 degrees, are on top of Royce's Saturn. So I've put that would possibly be materializing refined transport. So materializing Saturn, refined Venus, Mercury transport. So these are all different keywords, but when you start to like know a whole bunch of them, you can see how they fit together in relation to the subject that you're particularly speaking to. If you're talking about these two people doing something else, then you might be able to use the keywords related to those planets, other ones basically more suited to the situation that they're in. So then you've got Jupiter, sextile Jupiter. So one man's Jupiter is at 24 degrees in Libra and the other one's at 23 degrees in Sagittarius, and that's 2 signs apart, and each sign is 30 degrees. So that's basically roughly 60 degrees apart. And in the middle, you would have 23 or 24 degrees Scorpio. So this says to me and speaks to me that they had a faith or a similar faith and opportunity to an opportunity to share a faith and a belief and a wisdom with a sextile aspect, because the aspect of 60 degrees sextile creates opportunities that are not necessarily there on the plate, but that you can generate. And sometimes it's said to be better than the trine because you can make more of a conscious effort to act on it, as opposed to trine, which is kind of just happening and is just there and you don't really notice so much, even though they are considered like the most of the gift aspects that have easy flow. People don't take into account it could be easy flow downstream as well as easy flow upstream. So just to note, this sextile between the two of them looks like good for big business. And then the other thing that I see, in fact, opportunity of agreeable big vision. That's what I put for sextile. Sorry, Jupiter sextile Jupiter. And then the other thing that I seen with these two was one's north node is sextile, so Rose's north node is sextile to, oh, there's his north, sorry, the Venus of Royce. So it's 1 Pisces, 134 Pisces retrograde for Rolls, and 1 Taurus, 2 signs away, 60-degree relationship again, for opportunity to do something. So I put destiny of opportunity in partnership because it's 1 degree in Taurus, 2 signs away. So 1 degree would be in Aries, basically would be the midpoint of those 2 particular planets in question. So yeah, that's the synastry between the 2 of them. So just to give you an idea, actually, in fact, I'll go to these charts. Yeah, and then it's this one, I believe. Right, so what you got here, anyway, is the transits on the day that they met at Midland Hotel on the 4th of May 1904. So what I was able to spot is Uranus has just gone retrograde into Sagittarius, probably jumping back from Capricorn. I can't say where the moon is because I don't know the time for either, man. Oh well, sorry, tell a lie, the time of the meeting, because this is the meeting chart. Sorry, the transits of the meeting chart, and the inside ring are the planets of the people meeting. So this one's Charles Rose's. And what I could see for Charles Rose is that it's Mercury retrograde, transit, conjunct is Pluto retrograde. So I'm guessing that must have stemmed some deep and life-changing ideas for him, which it did. Mars and Saturn in Cancer. Sorry, Mars and Saturn in Pisces. Retrograde, Charles Rose. Sextile, the transit Mars in Taurus. So that seems like an opportunity related to motors. Yeah, mind blank for a second there. So yeah, let me show the other man's chart. Get my breath back. We'll put off the adverts. Power to the people. Boom. So for Henry Royce, oh, by the way, Chiron seems to have just gone into Aquarius. And as much as people think it's a wound, or a wounded healer, I should say, I've heard it referred to in other ways as well, or ways that it can be looked at. Let's just say that it could be a specialist most definitely. So it seems like the specialist high technology goods was spoke about and materialized Saturn, transit Saturn, in that particular meeting. Saturn could represent Henry Royce for all we know, because he's older than Charles Stewart. Jupiter in the sign of Aries, I'd say that was fortuitous for engineering feats and starting and initiating projects. So it would have been a great time to start something. And then what I can see here for Henry Royce is Pluto in transit has just gone over his Uranus as well. So he's definitely had an idea to do something extremely radical. Or I've been having it for some years as Pluto moves so slowly. So let's just see if there's anything that I've so yeah, here we go. In the transit chart, the Sun, Mars and Mercury are all retrograde. Are all in Taurus, with Mercury being retrograde. And I'd say this would give the identity of the high quality and something that stood the test of time in the fixed sign. Mars in Taurus, very deliberate, so very slow but very plodding, but very diligent once up and running on the mission. Mercury retrograde, I'd say that would be, well, let's just say, I can't say the name, the idea. Yeah, so if you take Gemini and Virgo principles, the idea in the work will be long standing, because Taurus, like I say again, stands the test of time and stays true. And what's valuable? So let's have a look now. That's the transits for Uranus. Okay. But yeah, all of those signatures they would all signify, like, basically it would have been a great time for them to meet and develop their plan, which basically is what's happened. So yeah, just to finish off, people, been giving it some welly, and I actually need some water because right until the wheels fall off. You can't rush expertise. Why you practice and you learn every day to get better. Here we go. So, just a little treat. When you add these two charts together, like I say, today was the idea for me to record. Well, not the idea. The plan was, because I actually wanted to record it on Henry Royce's birthday, and I couldn't really be bothered to wait till Charles Rose's birthday. I thought I'd do it at the midpoint, seeing as it's Rolls-Royce. So this is what you call a Davison chart, named after Ronald Davison, who come up with the scheme. And what you do is, it's like, instead of midpoints of the charts, it's the day and time and the location, technically, that or it draws the map of the location, I should say. So the settings of the rising and whatnot. To basically the middle. So middle day in time and the middle location as well. And it creates a real-time chart in, you could say, a fictional place, depending on where the two people are born. Anyway, the other designer chart you've got is a composite chart or composite chart, which are basically composed of technical midpoints. So you take the sun on the two charts and you basically average out the degrees to the middle point, and you do this with all of the planets. So this isn't actually where the planets are in a real chart, but what would happen if you mathematically averaged out the planets between the two charts. Now, just looking at the two of them alone, because I won't read them in depth due to lack of times and stuff. But they do show me something quite interesting. I mean, the composite chart has the South Node at 20 degrees Cancer, Uranus at 21 degrees Cancer on Venus. So it's something related to, again, to that whole quality, unique, radical. And then, I don't know, Cancer's been related to cars and transport of a form. I'd always say Gemini was more the one for it, but people have said things about fourth house and cars. But essentially, they have that signature in the past with a Saturn in Sagittarius that reports to Jupiter in Scorpio. Jupiter in Scorpio reports to Mars, and Mars is in Aries, the sign of engineering again. So there's the Aries Mars in this particular chart, and I believe in the next chart it's a Gemini Mars, which is to do more with transport. So one could be looked at as the engine and the engineering. The other one could be looking at the marketing and the name. That's just the intuitive flash insight. But there you go. The Mars in Gemini conjunct Jupiter, which is conjunct Mercury, which is very widely conjunct the Sun. But all of those closely together basically make a stellium. And it's in Gemini as well. But no, why I found the two charts interesting, because in this chart you've got the North Node at 19 degrees Cancer. So in the last chart is at 20 degrees Cancer with Uranus and Venus. And in this chart you've got Uranus at 20 degrees Cancer with the North Node. So composite chart, North Node, 1920 Cancer with Uranus. Davison chart, South Node, 1920 Cancer with Uranus. So no matter which way you cut this cookie and crumble, these guys were coming in with that and seem to be set a mission to be doing that particular work. So anyway, people, gonna wrap it up there. Woo! But yeah, I've enjoyed sharing my findings with you. Let me just double check my notes, make this sure there isn't something I've missed off. But I think I did all of the finer details. Trine, transit Pluto, opposite natal Jupiter, transit Neptune, square 2. Alright, okay. I'll just drop this one more little bomb then. Dancing all over the screen, me. So, looking at this chart, it's Royce, but I want Rolls, so this is how we do. Click, clack, pow. So yeah, what I've been able to put down here is that Pluto in the transit chart of when they met is opposite Jupiter for Rolls, and Mars tell that, not Mars, Mercury Venus here in Libra was square to Neptune in Cancer in 1904, on the 4th of May. So this would suggest with this square is ideas are not even ideal ideas, but yeah, ideals could be to do with Neptune, maybe Uranus. But yeah, his biggest wishes, hopes, ideas was with the planet that how he thinks, and Venus what he loves. So this is why he was able to come up with something so out there, over the top, because the square doesn't really pull no punches. It just operates. Right, anyway, Rolls-Royce, some of the best cars, you know, you got the Wraiths, the Phantoms, the Dawns, the ghosts. Yeah, man, Rolls-Royce are doing it big. Just got 4 of them out there. Quality. Yeah, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below. Feel free. Share it. Tell friends to tell friends to tell friends. Proper people. You know how it is. It's all love. And yeah, stay safe. And yeah, stay dangerous too. Gotta be out there for yours. Peace and love, people. Love, light, and blessings.